Have you ever felt trapped by circumstances that seem beyond your control? No matter how hard you try, there always seems to be something that hinders your progress, whether it's in health, finances, or spiritual life. It's fascinating how Psalm 91, an ancient and powerful prayer, has the power to break these bonds. Many see this psalm just as a talisman for protection, but it is much deeper than that. By meditating on the Word of God through Psalm 91, you can find true and lasting liberation. Get ready to discover how this prayer can transform your life, bringing peace, security, and divine protection. Participating in a special prayer based on the Psalms is an invitation to meditate on the Word of God and seek spiritual protection and strength. Many face spiritual attacks that not only shake their faith, but also affect their physical and mental health. In times of difficulty, this prayer becomes a safe refuge, offering a way to renew hope and inner peace. Thus, the practice of prayer guides us to find consolation and protection in God, who is our safe haven. In the midst of life's trials, prayer is a powerful tool that helps overcome challenges. By meditating on the Word of God and praying with faith, we strengthen our ability to face adversity. Imagine yourself in a moment of crisis where everything seems to crumble. Instead of succumbing to despair, turning to prayer can bring strength and comfort. Practical examples of applying this practice include setting aside daily time to pray and reflect on biblical passages, such as the Psalms, which are particularly comforting. Participating in this prayer is also an act of communion and solidarity. When we share our concerns and ask for protection through prayer, we create a network of spiritual support. It is encouraging not only to pray for oneself, but also to include in your prayers friends and family who may be facing similar battles. Thus, by meditating on the Word of God and praying together, we expand divine protection to everyone around us, strengthening our community and our faith. Psalm 91 is widely known and respected, not only among Christians, but also by many people of other faiths. This psalm is often seen in homes and businesses where Bibles are left open on its pages, symbolizing a talisman of protection. Its popularity is no accident. Psalm 91 carries with it a promise of divine protection, something that resonates deeply in times of uncertainty and fear. Meditating on the Word of God through this psalm can bring a sense of security and peace that transcends common understanding. The reason why Psalm 91 is so important goes beyond its superficial popularity. It is a text that offers a deep sense of comfort and spiritual security. The words of this psalm speak directly to the heart, offering the assurance that, even in the toughest times, there is a greater force protecting us. This type of message is crucial in times of crisis when faith can be shaken and despair can set in. By meditating on the Word of God, especially through Psalm 91, we renew our faith and find the strength to move forward. Moreover, Psalm 91 teaches that true protection comes from genuine faith and a life dedicated to God. It reminds us that by placing our trust in God, we find refuge and strength. This psalm is a powerful tool for those seeking not only physical protection, but also spiritual strengthening. Incorporating the reading and meditation of this psalm into our daily routine can transform our perspective and give us the courage to face any challenge. By understanding the importance of Psalm 91, we can see how it can be an anchor amid life's storms. The Psalms, being very extensive, go far beyond a simple talisman of protection. It has a deep spiritual meaning. This psalm teaches that true security and protection come from a spiritual connection with God. By meditating on the Word of God and reflecting on the verses of Psalm 91, we realize that it calls us to fully trust in God, who is our refuge and strength. This spiritual understanding transforms reading the psalm into an act of faith, which strengthens the soul and brings lasting inner peace. With a spiritual vision, the Bible reveals itself as a guide for life. It reminds us that, regardless of the circumstances, we can find security under the wings of the Almighty. This psalm invites us to look beyond appearances and trust in divine care and protection. Meditating on the Word of God through this psalm is like opening a portal to a dimension of peace and security that only faith can provide. Thus, the psalm becomes a powerful prayer that aligns us with the divine will and protects us from adversities. By interpreting Psalm 91 spiritually, we understand that it teaches us to seek God's presence at all times. This means living a life of continuous prayer, seeking refuge in God, not just in times of crisis, but in all situations. This psalm encourages us to make God our constant shelter, trusting fully in Him. Practical examples of this application might include starting the day with a prayer based on the Word, asking for protection and strength to face the day. Thus, by meditating on the Word of God, we incorporate the essence of the psalm into our daily lives, making us more resilient and confident in divine protection. The practice of prayer based on the first verses of Psalm 91 can be done in stages, allowing a deeper meditation on the Word of God. Starting with verses 1 and 2, which talk about dwelling in the shelter of the Most High and resting in the shadow of the Almighty, we can ask God for refuge and strength. By meditating on these verses, we are declaring our trust in God as our protector and refuge in times of difficulty. This structured approach helps to internalize the message of the psalm and strengthens our faith. Each stage of the prayer can focus on different aspects of divine protection described in Psalm 91. For example, in verses 3 and 4, we can pray for protection against snares and diseases, trusting that God will deliver us from the fowler's snare and from deadly pestilence. By meditating on the Word of God, we reflect on how these dangers manifest in our lives and seek refuge in God to overcome them. This step-by-step prayer practice helps us address each area of our life with the assurance of divine protection. As we proceed in the prayer, verses 5 and 6 remind us that we need not fear the terrors of the night nor the arrows that fly by day. Here we can ask for courage and peace to face the fears and anxieties of everyday life. Meditating on the Word of God allows us to understand that true peace comes from fully trusting in God's protection. This step-by-step prayer not only strengthens us spiritually, but also gives us a clear structure to address our concerns and ask for divine help in a specific and intentional way. Seeking God's peace and protection amid trials is essential to strengthen the spirit. The Psalms offer a powerful reminder that, by meditating on the Word of God, we find the strength needed to overcome any adversity. When we face challenges, remembering the verses of this psalm can bring us comfort and renewal. By reciting these verses and reflecting on their meaning, we are asking God for the strength to endure and thrive, even in the toughest situations. During adversities, prayer becomes a vital resource. By meditating on the Word of God and praying with faith, we can transform moments of weakness into opportunities for spiritual growth. Imagine someone facing a financial crisis. By also praying based on Psalm 91, that person can find the courage and wisdom needed to make sound decisions and overcome challenges. Practices like these help us keep our faith strong and our minds focused, allowing divine protection and guidance to lead us. Moreover, the book of Psalms encourages us to trust that God is always with us, especially in times of difficulty. Meditating on the Word of God reminds us that, regardless of the circumstances, we can find strength and protection in the Lord. This teaches us to not only face adversities, but also to learn and grow from them. Incorporating these teachings into our daily lives through regular prayers and reflection on the psalm can help us develop a spiritual resilience that sustains us in any storm. Now that you know the power of prayer and how it can transform your life, it's time to put this knowledge into practice. Start incorporating meditation on the Word of God and prayer into your daily routine. Ask yourself, how can I make God my refuge and strength today? How can I trust more in Him to overcome my adversities? Challenge yourself to seek divine protection in all areas of your life, trusting that God is always ready to rescue you and answer your prayers. Are you ready to experience this transformation? Share your experiences and reflections in the comments below. And to continue learning and growing in faith, subscribe to our channel and activate notifications. Thus, you won't miss any of our content on how to meditate on the Word of God and strengthen your spiritual life. Together, we can walk towards a more secure and protected life under the wings of the Almighty.